Let's be frank, okay? That's what I want to talk about today. No editing, no nothing, no fancy cameras, my iPhone. Just talking about being a creative person in these times and how hard it is. And I know a lot of you out there have the same problem. We live in a world right now, the fog of wars, 2 wars, 3 wars, the fog of an election. And I'm trying to write, right? I'm trying to write something that's not dark. I want to do something that's light. And I can't. Because everywhere I turn, if I turn on my phone, if I turn on the TV, if I turn on social media, I see the first headlines is another disaster about ready to happen. And there's so much anger and so much pissed offness. And the thing is, people don't even understand what's really going on abroad. And maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they shouldn't know how close we are to something really bad happening. It's like those movies, you know, Asteroid, Meteor, The Flood, there's The Froze, where the experts all know it's coming, but they don't tell us. They don't tell us because that'll cause panic. We don't want to give them any notice. And then they come on the air like 1 hour before and they go, there is a meteor that's going to hit the earth in 1 hour. We figured we didn't want to alarm you, so we just let you go about your day and have fun. But you know what? We live in California. We're used to actually living where a disaster zone doesn't come over days like a hurricane or even a tornado, which you at least get a little warning. No, disaster in California is an earthquake. I don't know how many of you, well, actually, if you only live in California, you know this, but every time you're under an overpass and you're packed in there with all these cars, I'm sure you're like me, where you actually think, if there was an earthquake right now, I'd be crushed. I can't get out of this thing, so we can't think about it. We basically go about our day, and it's blue skies, and it's beautiful, sun shining, we're at the beach, and everything is great. And then 1 hour before, as they do in the movies, or 2 seconds before, the whole ground shakes, it comes down, you're done. You have no time to be worried about it, so the worry doesn't come from the buildup. Like Alfred Hitchcock used to say, if you want suspense, if you want an action scene, you have a bunch of people playing cards around a table and a bomb goes off, right? Or you show the bomb and you keep showing the bomb and they keep playing cards as if nothing's going on and it's ticking down, it's ticking down, it's getting tense. Is anyone going to discover the bomb? That's movie making. But in the real world, we don't have time sometimes, and it weighs upon us. As creative people, we're always basically wondering, is tomorrow that hour coming? Is that hour coming now? What's the next thing to fall? Because it seems like we keep being put into this perpetual fear, perpetual anxiety, and people wonder why people are kind of mentally screwed up right now. As a writer, I can't sit down and write. I wanted to write something like Little Miss Sunshine. I wanted to bring some light into the world. And every time I try to sit down, I don't believe it. I'm acting through it. It's like I can do all the beats. I know how to write a story. I know the beginning. I know the first plot point. I know the mid-turn. I know the ending. I can write it. I can write it structurally because I know how to write. But I'm not emotionally invested. When I'm not emotionally invested, I start falling asleep when I'm writing. So it's tough, and I just wanted to put that out there because there's a lot of people that are feeling like me. I know that. We just came through a strike last year. A lot of people still aren't back from that strike. And now we're worried about 2 wars. We just heard, I don't even want to go into politics or anything, but we did hear that this administration has given the go-ahead for Ukraine to shoot our long-range missiles into the heart of Russia. And when you hear that and you say, is this Russian roulette with the world? I don't get it, and I don't pretend to understand it. I'm just being frank here. I'm being honest, how I feel. You can feel differently, but you can't decide how I feel. I feel like, man, how the hell do you write anything but dark right now? Every time I sit down, I write things that are hell. I mean, you can look at the videos that I did on the last movie I did, The Womb, where I basically saw Portland burning at the beginning of the George Floyd riots, and suddenly hell came into the movie, and I realized a year and a half later, that wasn't right. So I took it all out, and I put a little kid, her father, and a therapist, and replaced all those effect shots with something that was emotional, something that really was about getting out of a pandemic, the mental problems we all have of returning to a reality where we're not supposed to feel fear. Anyway, I kind of want to just let that go today and get it out there before I forget it and before I edit it. There's no editing on this, no fancy camera work, but this is from a filmmaker saying, how the hell do we create in this environment? Anyway, have a great day. Get out in the sunlight. That's all I can tell you. If you're always feeling depressed, just go out and feel the warmth of the sun. It usually pretty much cleans everything out.